the Mariners, somehow they recaptured my attention. I'll be honest. Friday night, Mike Lefko and I, producer of Lyman and Bob, we were going to go hang out. You know, we're college buddies. We've known each other for 10 years. So Lefko wants to go to a bar that has the Mariners game on. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. No, sorry, no. Oh, but Paul, it's your job, said my conscience to me. No, don't care. Anyway, we go to a bar. Next thing I know, here I am standing up on the top of a bar stool getting really excited about, first off, a double play that was made in that game. But then, at the very end of the game, we got a walk-off. A walk-off by one Torrens and Kelenic. Here's how that.
Bases loaded. Seager winning run at third. The 3-0. Way outside, not even close. A 4-pitch walk-off walk as Kelenic's doing cartwheels to first. Seager scores. Kelenic with two hands tomahawks that helmet down by first base, and he is getting bombarded by his teammates as the Mariners have one of the most thrilling wins of the season. 3-2 the final. They walk it off in 9 over the Blue Jays.
That's one of those games where you're biting your nails the whole way through, including at the end. And honestly, Kelenic's gotten really just a great eye at the plate over these last couple of weeks. And he, in situations like that, you know, you would think, hey, he might press. He's a young player. He wants to make that big play happen. Earlier this year, yeah, I think he would have pressed. But he's been so patient, and he's been so good at drawing walks, especially in a critical situation like that. So you get the win on Friday. Then on Saturday, I'm watching the Seahawks preseason game. We don't learn a whole lot. They lose 20-7. You don't see a whole lot of the offense, the tempo, all the things that you want to see. But the Mariners offense all of a sudden decides to show up in a big way later on in that game.
One out, runners on the corners, a 3-1. Swing, socked, demolished, out to left. It is back, and it is gone into the bullpen. It's a colossal home run from Luis Torrens. 3-run home run. It comes in the 7th, and he puts the Mariners in front 5-3 on a hang time up to the moon.
I'm a really big fan of The Sopranos. There's a line that's often repeated in The Sopranos. It's actually from Godfather Part 3, a movie I've never seen and a movie that I've been told I never should watch. But it's Silvio reenacting Michael Corleone in Godfather Part 3 that is my favorite part, perhaps, of The Sopranos.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
They pulled me back in. The Mariners pulled me back in this weekend. And to the point where yesterday, Joe Fan sent me a text, hey, want to go to the Mariners game? Went to the Mariners game yesterday. Yeah, they got smacked around, and finally Logan Gilbert is the first Mariners starting pitcher after 13 straight games to allow more than 3 runs in a game. But, I mean, you took 2 of 3 against the red-hot Toronto baseball team over the weekend. I mean, that's something else. And it has me feeling like, okay, now all of a sudden overreactive baseball Paul is right back in. He is back in the mix. But my question is, did this really change their playoff chances? I mean, I feel a lot more optimistic, but going into the series against Texas on Tuesday, a team that has taken 2 of 3 from the Mariners the last 2 times that these two teams have played each other, I am wondering if they're actually going to be able to keep this going forward. The odds of them making the playoffs per Pro Baseball Reference is like 1% right now. And given the stretch that they have down the rest of the way, not just against Oakland and against Houston, but also a series against Boston, they got 18 tough games left. And yeah, they're going to play the Royals, they play the Rangers, they play the Angels twice, they play the Diamondbacks twice. So that should allow them to fatten up, at least in principle. But whatever the case, even with football season actually kicking off on Saturday, I think it's really cool that this is the first year in a really long time that the Mariners should keep your attention the rest of the way. It's an uphill battle. Their offense is not very good. Their starting pitching has been pitching well above its head over the last couple of starts. I don't know how sustainable that is. And obviously Logan Gilbert hasn't been the guy that he was early on this year of late. So a lot of mitigating factors potentially the rest of the way. Mariners pulled me back in this weekend, at least into having hopes and dreams. I'd say 5 to 6%. Rough calculation with zero thought put into it. That's what I feel like their chances are of making the playoffs. I think they have a pretty good chance of catching Oakland. And I know Oakland's 5.5 games ahead. And I'm not saying this is a very likely chance, but I think of all the teams in front of them, I mean, that's the one that you have the most control over. The rest of the way, the Mariners are going to play the Oakland A's 9 more times. 5.5 game difference. Okay, that's one way to make up that ground if you do well in those series. But also look at the upcoming series for this A's team that after a 7-game winning streak lost 2 or 3 to Texas, who is annoying a bunch of teams despite being a minor league baseball club. That makes you feel a little bit better about the Mariners of late. Up next, at the first place White Sox, a 4-game series starting tonight. Then this weekend, 3-game homestand against the San Francisco Giants before 2 games against the Mariners, and then 4 games against the Yankees. They have a nice little break against the Detroit Tigers. Hopefully the Tigers do what they do to the Mariners after that. At Toronto, the White Sox again, Texas, Kansas City, the Angels. Okay, that's 9 games in a row where you're feeling pretty good. But then they wrap up the season with 13 games against the Mariners and Astros. There's a chance to overtake Oakland. I don't think it's a great one, but I think if you're looking at any teams that are ahead of Seattle right now, they have the kind of schedule that they could easily have some pitfalls with. And on top of that, they play you the most. And you're 6-4 against them somehow thus far. It's a nice start. They're not some team that's completely loaded with talent. Honestly, they've been struggling at the plate, I would say, compared to the other American League's best, the real playoff contenders. I don't know if you're going to be able to catch New York. The Yankees are playing better of late. And I feel like if Oakland falls off, that's the team that's probably going to slide into that second wild card spot. But Oakland, I think, is catchable.